Today, we're going to talk about Game Informer and the fact that, well, they seem to be no longer with us. Let's check it out on That Game Plays. Hi, folks, it's CC here again with my friend Space Dave 2000. How you doing, Space Dave?
I'm doing fantastic, Culture. How are you this fine day?
I'm fantastic. I have to tell you that this is a very busy news day indeed, and we are going to be bringing you 2 to 3 stories that you can count on. But this is something that we used to count on. It was something called, well, Game Informer, and it's not with us anymore. This Variety article dropped same day as the news everywhere else at August 2nd. They were no longer with us. So let's dive into the story. Game Informer, the popular video game magazine and website, announced Friday it will be shutting down after 33 years. The GameStop-owned magazine published a memo Friday morning titled "The Final Level, Farewell from Game Informer." What we didn't know is that this was kind of planned, and they laid everybody off that worked at the magazine aspect of the company on the same day. So after 33 years of bringing you the latest news, reviews, and insights from the ever-evolving world of gaming, it is with a very heavy heart that we announce the closure of Game Informer, the announcement said. From the early days of the pixelated adventures to today's immersive virtual reality realms, we've been honored to share this incredible journey with you, our loyal readers. While our presses may stop, the passion for gaming that we've cultivated together will continue to live on. Thank you for being part of our epic quest, and may your own gaming adventures never end. Wow. Now, I used to shop at GameStop all the time, and I used to pick up my games there, pre-order my games there, get little cards that would, help buy me little trinkets in game or whatnot. I don't know. Did you have fond memories of the magazine that came along with that, Dave?
Absolutely, I did. I recall this when I was younger, and it's been around for a long time. But I remember picking it up. It was in the stores, and it was really cool. It's a information because back then, and this is aging us here, cultures. They did not have the internet like they do now, where you could just go watch a YouTube video. You had to go to these things, find out about new games coming up, how the production was going on certain games, and the little mysteries and secrets of certain games as well. So it was, back in the day, something that you would collect. I didn't collect it like every issue, but I definitely picked this thing up, and I recall it. It's sad. It hurts the heart to hear that
Well,
it is gone.
it does. And, this thing used to get delivered to my house every single month. And when they started publishing their magazine in 1991 under video game retailer FuncoLand, which was acquired by GameStop in 2000, at the height of its popularity, Game Informer circulated 8 million copies in the US in 2011. That's amazing. And was the third largest magazine. The magazine came as part of GameStop's Power Up Rewards membership program, which boosted its sales. It also gave you some interesting offers from time to time. Do you remember any of those, Space Dave, or yay or nay? Do you remember?
I don't recall directly, but now that this article mentions it, it kind of makes more sense why when you did go into GameStop, Game Informer was there. So it's kind of clicking all together, like the puzzle pieces are coming together. And I do remember a few promotional things that they would advertise. And then, when you're younger, you're not paying as much attention. But now, as I'm a little bit older, that clicks and it really makes sense. And I did not even realize at the time later on that GameStop owned that. I guess again, when you're younger, you're not really paying all that attention, but makes sense now. And what does it say? I would say about GameStop. Where is that heading next?
That's a good question. It's funny because I guarantee you somewhere around my house there's several hundred copies of the magazine. But as time went on, according to this article, by 2017, it slid slightly to 7 million copies, and by 2019, it laid off roughly half the Game Informer staff. In 2020, Game Informer's editor-in-chief and founder Andy McNamara left the company. His replacement, Andrew Reiner, left in 2022, and Matt Miller was the current editor-in-chief before the magazine's closure. Parent company GameStop has seen its profitability decline for several years, but during the pandemic, its stock prices skyrocketed due to the meme stock phenomenon, popularized by Reddit users. In the 2023 film Dumb Money, which is awesome, by the way, it examined the short lived viral trend. Well, I don't know about short lived. It seems to be doing just fine. But on June 2024, in Game Informer magazine, about Dragon Age the Veilguard was the 367th and final issue.
And
Wow.
people, if you own
That's
that issue, it now becomes a collector's. Just remember that. 20
it
years from
does, and if
now,
you have
somebody's going to want it.
that's right, yeah, and if that's only part of the conversation. If you have the first issue back when it was put out by Funko Land, I think you probably have some gold there too.
Well,
But
just look at Nintendo Power, sir. I don't want to interrupt you, but
no,
man,
right?
people are trying to complete that collection. Nintendo Power. And as it said, Game Informer was third place. So, hey, just a hint out there, people. If you've got a collection, hang on to it, right?
Yeah, it might be worth something someday. But you know what? This sparked a broader conversation between you and I behind the scenes about how things are happening in the business world around us and the fact that perhaps this would reflect poorly on GameStop's stock. Well, it doesn't seem to, because as we were discussing, the broader markets are having a terrible day, down hundreds of points in some cases. In at least as far as the S&P 500 goes, it's down 100 points, and the Dow 30 is down 600 points plus, NASDAQ 400. So broader markets are not doing so well. At least GameStop's only down about 63 cents to 21.08, and it's had kind of a bouncy ride recently, but lots of good news for this company all around. Disney's having an equally bad day, and down another $4 as of right now. But that's really not the conversation. It's the fact that I think, Space Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, but GameStop's hanging in there. And
And it definitely is. And I think it's found its niche, so to speak. I think it's kind of gotten itself under control when it comes to stores and what people want, right? Because it still has something to offer. And I know they call this the joke stock, but if it is a joke stock, why is it still been pretty steady for the last 2 years, right? I mean, it's not anybody's diamond in the rough, so to speak, but it definitely has some punching power, amazing punching power, considering that brick and mortar stores have really struggled
yeah.
to stay alive. Yet GameStop is still kicking. So props to them, I would say.
Well, and it also casts favorable light on them that they are surviving in a brick and mortar world, although with fewer stores, because as time has gone on, they've gotten smaller. But at the same time, they're one of the few places you can go and actually pick up hardware and accessories and things that you absolutely need, as well as obviously some merchandise and other things that real fans will purchase for their games.
And as much
So
as we hate to say it, that's important nowadays because a physical copy of a game is not, I predict, and this is just Space Dave saying this, I think in 10 years we're going to be all digital, and except for maybe Nintendo, they're one of the hardcore guys. But at the end of the day, physical media is kind of going the way of the dodo. Not that I want that, I don't think you want that, but it is inevitable because of this world we live in. GameStop will still have a place, and if they're smart, they'll get on board with their old stock, keep it around, and say, hey, look what we can offer, because then they can drive that demand still for physical media. But that's just my thoughts on it.
And I think that the used market is going to contribute dramatically to the future as it becomes less and less available. I think that's the other thing that the push towards digital is going to create, because as we learned just a week or so ago with the CrowdStrike update, that your entire digital world can disappear and maybe gone forever, but at least be gone temporarily. And I'm warning y'all, don't let the world go purely digital. There will be nothing left for you to hold on to. But just as a last bit of nostalgia for everybody out there that's watching, I want you to take a look at the final page on the website over there at Game Informer. It's right here.
Rest in peace, Game Informer. Rest in
Indeed.
peace.
Indeed. On that note, I just want to say, so long, Game Informer. You'll be missed. On that note, I just want to ask you out there, hey, do you have any fond memories of Game Informer, GameStop, or any of the other things that we've talked about today? Are you intrigued that a paper magazine lasted as long as it did, with so many of them already having close their doors? And finally, do you think there is a world still out there for a physical gaming magazine? As much as Space Dave and I just talked about physical media, believe it or not, magazines are physical media. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And as always, game on!